He was one of the richest men in Rome, a philosopher, an advisor to emperors, a man respected for his wisdom, and one day he was told to die, not by an enemy, not by a stranger, but by the very emperor he once guided. His name was Seneca, and when the order came, he didn't resist. He didn't panic. He didn't beg for more time. Instead, he accepted it calmly, as if it were already expected, because in many ways it was. Seneca lived in a dangerous world. Power in Rome was unstable. Today's ally could become tomorrow's threat, and the Emperor Nero was not known for restraint. At first, Nero respected Seneca, trusted him, listened to him, but over time, that changed. Power has a way of doing that. It isolates, it distorts, it creates fear. And eventually, Nero began to see threats everywhere, even in the people closest to him, even in Seneca. There were whispers, accusations, claims of conspiracy. Whether they were true didn't matter, because once suspicion takes hold, reason disappears. And so the order was given. Seneca was to end his own life. Now imagine that moment. You've spent your life studying wisdom, teaching others how to live, speaking about control, perspective, acceptance, and suddenly you are faced with the ultimate test. Death. Not someday, not in the distance, but now. Most people, no matter how confident they are in their beliefs, would break in that moment. Fear would take over, emotion would flood in. But Seneca did something different. When the soldiers arrived, he welcomed them. Not warmly, but without resistance, without drama. He asked for time, not to escape, but to prepare. He gathered his friends, his family, the people closest to him, and instead of panic, there was something else. Calm. He began speaking to them, not about injustice, not about anger, but about philosophy, about the very ideas he had spent his life teaching. That death is not something to fear, that it is part of nature, part of the process. He reminded them that what matters is not how long you live, but how well you live, and that fear of death often causes more suffering than death itself. His friends were emotional, some were crying, some couldn't understand how he remained so composed, but Seneca didn't try to force them to feel differently. He simply continued, steady, clear, present, because to him, this moment was no different than any other. It was simply reality, and reality is not something you argue with, it is something you face. Then came the time. He opened his veins, a slow process, deliberate. There was no rush, no chaos, only acceptance. At one point, the process was taking longer than expected. His body weakened slowly. His friends became more distressed. But even then, he remained composed. He continued speaking, teaching, as if even this was an opportunity to demonstrate something. Because it was. He was showing, in real time, what it meant to live by your principles, not when it's easy, but when it costs you everything. Most people believe they are strong until they are tested. Most people believe they are calm until chaos arrives. Most people believe they understand life until they are forced to let go of it. Seneca understood something deeper. That philosophy is not something you say, it's something you live, especially when it matters most. He didn't deny what was happening. He didn't pretend it was good. He didn't try to escape it. He accepted it fully, because he had already practiced this moment many times before, not physically, but mentally. He had already asked himself, what if I lose everything? What if I am betrayed? What if I must die? And by confronting those possibilities ahead of time, he removed their power, so when the moment came, it was not new, it was familiar, and familiarity reduces fear. That is the Stoic way. You don't wait for hardship, you prepare for it. So when it arrives, you are not surprised. And when you are not surprised, you are not controlled. In the end, Seneca did not die as a victim. He died as he lived, deliberately, consciously, in control of his mind, even when he had no control over his fate. And that is the lesson. You cannot control what happens to you. You cannot control what others decide. You cannot control the timing of events, but you can always control how you meet them, with panic, or with clarity, with resistance, or with acceptance, with fear, or with understanding. Seneca chose understanding. He chose acceptance. He chose to remain himself until the very end. And that is why a man who was ordered to die did not lose anything, because the only thing that truly mattered was never taken from him: his perspective. And that is what made him free.